Help keep Kinks and Beats Daily alive with a $4 monthly contribution and receive exclusive bonus episodes as our thank you to you. Visit herohabit.com/shop for more details. Welcome to Kinks and Beats Daily. Thank you for downloading. This is episode 172, and I'm your host, as always, Tony Fry. Okay. I'm going to skip the housekeeping. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We've got the Facebook group. We've got the call-in show I want you to participate in. Go listen to that on other episodes. But just know that you can find all the information you need at herohabit.com. Okay, today we're talking about the song Pressure by the Kinks. Pressure was released on July 10th, 1979 on the album Low Budget, and as a single on November 30th, 1979 in the UK. As a single, it was backed with National Health, but it failed to chart. And as I discussed on the National Health episode, that was the song that probably should have been the A-side in 1979. I wish National Health would have been an A-side single at some point when Low Budget was a popular album, because I really think it could have done something. But I digress. I've already done an episode on that song. We don't need to relitigate that here. The song was recorded in early summer of 1979 in New York, which is this album, a rare instance of the band recording away from their home studio. But it also is why this album, to my ears, stands out as different than any other album they did. It does not sound like the concept albums that they were doing, obviously. It's not as polished as Sleepwalker or Misfits, obviously. It's not as arena rock sounding as Give the People What They Want. This album, to me, stands on its own as its own period in the Kinks catalog. It's like you've got the Golden Age, the concept albums, the return to their just straight ahead rock music, Low Budget, their arena rock albums. That's how it goes for me. Because this album sounds distinctly different, and it's because of that recording in New York and on a short time frame. They didn't spend months recording this one. We mentioned in the Bernadette episode that was released 2 episodes ago that it was clearly inspired by Chuck Berry. Pressure opens up with a straight up Chuck Berry guitar riff. I mean, if you don't hear Chuck Berry coming out of Dave's guitar on this song, you don't know anything about Chuck Berry's music. And beyond that, it does pop in and out throughout the song. But the song, unlike Bernadette, does not follow a Chuck Berry formula in the least. Other than those riffs coming in and out, you don't get it. This is not like a pastiche of a 50s song. This is a straight up 1979 rock and roll song. AllMusic reviewer Richard Gilliam said that the track was nothing a Kinks fan would likely list as one of their favorites, though he did call it a fun, fast song. So he liked the song, but he was also dismissive of it. And I'm not sure that's fair. It's not my favorite Kinks song by any stretch, but in a lot of ways, this is the band returning to their You Really Got Me hard rock energy. And I think for a lot of fans, that has tremendous appeal. Right? Whether you think this is your favorite song or not, I'm sure there are plenty of fans who rank this in their top 10. And if this is your favorite, give me a call. I want to hear about it and why it's your favorite. Especially if you were listening to it new at the time. You know, I had the benefit of having heard the entire catalog all at once after it was done. But if you were a diehard fan from the 60s and you slogged through all the different iterations of the band's sound, by the time 1979 comes around, Pressure may be the welcome return home you've been waiting for. You know, as much of the Low Budget album would. You know, you sat there and you saw them get more artistic and better, but lose a little of their hard rock edge, you know, with Village Green and Arthur and you know, Lola had a little bit back. You saw them release a country album with Muswell Hillbillies. You saw them do their concept albums with Preservation and Soap Opera and Schoolboys. You saw them do their AM radio, you know, mid-70s output with Misfits. Now we get here and Low Budget and Pressure. This is 1979's version of You Really Got Me. I love Ray's vocals on this. There's not much to talk about in the way of melody, but he screams through this song, and it just really adds to the energy of this track. This is a high octane Kinks track, and this is one, I've said it 1,000 times. I will say it 1,000 more. This is one that demands to be turned up loud. And why wouldn't you? It's a fantastic rock song. I'm not so sure that it was ever likely to be a radio hit. You know? Like, it doesn't really have... I mean, it's got the pressure, under pressure. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's got kind of a hook. But it should have been on every set list for the remainder of the band's touring years. And it was on a lot of set lists for much of the 80s. Like, they played this live a lot. But, I mean, this song might have been a top 40 hit on the radio had the Kinks been more respected on the radio back then. But it's definitely a top 10 song for concerts. So that call and response and the guitar riffs and Ray's, screaming vocals and all that kind of stuff. It's a cool concert song. And at 2:27, it's the shortest song on Low Budget. I mean, this podcast has already devoted 3 times as much time to this song as the song actually takes. And with that being said, there's not much more I can say about it. It's a good rock song. It's one that I enjoy. It's one that I never skip when I listen to Low Budget, which is an album that I've always liked, but I think I've mentioned before, I've grown a deeper appreciation for as this podcast has continued for 172 episodes. I've really started to appreciate Low Budget more and more and more. And this is a good one. Never skip it. So go listen to it. Go pop it on Spotify, pull your vinyl out, turn on a CD, do whatever you got to do to get this playing loud in your head, and thank me for it later. All right. Go to iTunes, leave a 5-star rating and review. Give me a call, 925-494-1739, with a song by the Kinks or the Beatles or their individual solo acts that you changed your opinion on one way or the other since you were younger. And if you want some bonus material way ahead of everybody else, I'm talking years ahead of everybody else, swing by Hero Habit and contribute $4 a month. And that keeps us ad-free. It keeps offsets the cost of producing the podcast. And if everybody listens does this, I could probably take some time off of the day job and produce even more episodes. So thank you for those who have contributed. Thank you for those who continue to download and support the podcast. It means the world to me. And I hope you will download tomorrow's episode. Have a great day. This podcast is presented by the Hero Habit Podcast Network. Swing by HeroHabit.com today to comment on this episode and poke around our growing database of sports and pop culture news, reviews, and collectibles. HeroHabit.com. Collect your heroes.